वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Now the classes are being recorded.
Oh, so this is getting too much now.
But you are free to ask any questions.
Yeah?
Yeah, because people actually like.
No, it's a big problem if you don't do it because so many people are missing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I am the one who wanted the class early. Oh, I just tell Suresh to keep him now.
That's what he's going. And the first verse of the, which is the second verse, it says that now I'm going to tell you that knowledge after knowing which nothing else remains to be known. So what does it mean? It means that up to now the focus has been the first 6 chapters of the Gita. They focus on what we call Tvampada. Tvampada is the whole inquiry into the nature of I. And one would think that Vedanta is only about inquiring into the nature of I, but the whole Vedanta is nothing but an equation. Equation is Tat Tvam Asi. Okay? So that means that up to now, if we look at this equation, which part of the equation we have seen? Tvampada. Okay? So Lord Krishna talks about what is the nature of I. It talks about Karma Yoga as a means to prepare oneself for knowledge. Talks about the role of meditation in this whole pursuit. Also talks about sannyasa and its role and how if you prematurely leave everything, it is actually counterproductive. So the whole thing was centering upon what? Who are you and how do you prepare yourself for the knowledge and what is the lifestyle that you choose, right? Which are the options and which is a safe lifestyle. All that was what we say, the topic of the first 6 chapters. Now, that means it's not that Vedanta is over. Now the whole new discussion starts, which refers to what? Tatpada. Tatpada is, Tat here refers to the cause of the universe. Okay? So therefore, there is a change in topic. Most of the time, if you have read some of these California self-help or this new age, it's all about Tvampada. It's all about I, and without even telling what you are not, they just say that you are limitless. In yesterday's class, somebody asked me, because we are doing Tattva Buddha, and they are saying, generally, when you're talking about what is the nature of I, you start with what is the nature of I. Why here they are starting with what you are not. Is that you are not this physical body, you are not the mind, you are not this. Why? So I said, because if Vedanta just says you are what? Limitless, what will you understand? Your sense of I will still be what? In the body. Your sense of I will still be in the mind, and you will, what would you think? The mind is limitless. And this is exactly the problem with some of these California self-help or this teaching, where whatever you think I is, then it says what? That is limitless. It's highly misleading. We are not talking about mind being limitless. We are not talking about body having unlimited capacity. Okay? We are talking about awareness is what? Something which pervades every body and every mind, which has no boundaries. And that awareness you are. It's very different. Okay? So that means if you want to be responsible in how you convey this knowledge, you have to first start what? By saying, this is what you are not. So that you don't superimpose that limitlessness onto what you think you are. Yeah, a huge, you are at, it's almost like, you enter into more subjective mode than before. Before you thought the body, because body is limited and you have your sense of I in the body, you think you are limited. That's more reasonable than to continue to think that you are the body and think it's limitless. It's more of a delusion than what? Correction of any mistake.
If you tell us that I am, if they ask you that I is this, I am limitless, you would not be able to, I think, understand it the way you would if you reverse the process.
Exactly.
It just becomes that much more difficult to understand.
Exactly.
To say you're not the mind, then you start saying why not, then not the body, and then you come to what you are. It's just a more
it's a much more
logical
process, right?
Yeah.
And it ensures that you don't construe something which is other than what it is saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means the way they handle Tvampada itself is not very accurate, and plus what they do is what? They only end the discussion at Tvampada. There are too many problems. Because what happens is that when people listen to Vedanta and they have listened to something like that, they think it's all very similar. Because it sounds similar. But there are very important differences. Okay? So therefore, here, Tvampada is handled differently. In Tvampada handling, we also talk a lot about what? Maturity. The whole Karma Yoga is all about maturity to gain the knowledge. Okay? That means you have to undergo a very major shift in how you look at the universe, how you look at yourself. You have to put in place where you have a free will, where you don't have a free will. All that is something that you need to, your emotions, how to handle them, your raga dveshas, all of that is included in Tvampada Vichara. It's very rich and it's multifaceted. Okay? Then comes this whole Tatpada, which again these new age people don't talk about at all. Why don't they talk about this Tatpada? Tatpada means the cause of the universe. The cause of the universe is something which is problematic because already if you come from this Judaic-Christian background, they already have what? This whole thing of a God who's sitting out there and who's judging you. And many of them cannot accept that idea of a God who's sitting out there and judging you. So many of them have rebelled against that kind of an idea of God. So the minute you start talking about Ishvara, they all again, what happens? They all start rejecting, oh, this is about again some kind of a belief or whatever. Okay. So this is why very conveniently this new age people have got rid of this whole topic of the cause of the universe. But if you are interested in realities, you cannot ignore Ishvara. Why can't you ignore Ishvara? Because if you are looking at the universe, you have to ask a question, how did this universe come about? If you are interested in knowing reality, you can't ignore this question. And you have to come up with some kind of a plausible answer which makes sense. Okay? So therefore, inquiring into reality, you cannot escape the inquiry into Tatpada. Tatpada is the cause of the universe. Okay? And this is, all the next few verses are all about what is the nature of the cause of the universe. Okay? So we will see, and without which this knowledge will not be complete. So the first verse he says, now unless you know this, the knowledge will not be complete. Once you know this, the knowledge that I have told you will be complete. Right? So the verse 7 of chapter 7, it says, Matta parataram nanyata kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. You chant after me. Matta parataram nanyata. You just chant after me. Kinchidasti dhananjaya. Kinchidasti dhananjaya. Mai sarvamidam protam. Mai sarvamidam protam. Sutre manigana iva. Sutre manigana iva. Okay. Good. You're chanting that.
She's dancing very,
Yeah.
she's dancing very. I don't have the boss. Seventh boss. This is the one. Did this one? Oh.
So here he says, Matta parataram nanyata kinchidasti dhananjaya. Okay? So that means I am the cause of the universe. Okay? Now the minute you talk about, when Lord Krishna is talking about I am the cause of the universe, if you don't understand what is this I, what would you think? There is some Mr. Krishna with that little flute and that little, the yellow clothes and, with this crown. He is the one who is ruling the universe. And in order to negate this idea of a person ruling the universe, he says in what way he is using this word I. He is using this word I as a cause of the universe, and he says, I am that which is what? Mani Gana Iva. Sutre Mani Gana Iva. So he takes an imagery of a thread which binds all the different beads to make it into what? A necklace. Okay? So that means, now let's look at what does it mean. It means, which are the beads? What are the beads?
Everything.
Exactly. The beads are all the forms. Okay? So that means all the human beings, then beads are also what? Animals, aquatic creatures, birds, amoebas, all these are what we call beads. Then planets, sun, moon, galaxies, whole thing is what? All forms are beads. And what connects one form to the other is what? What makes it into one entity? There are many beads, but there is how many necklaces? There is only one necklace. And what makes it into one entity? The string. Okay? So that which connects all the different beads in a way that it becomes an intelligent or an object which is a beautiful object and that you can use, and this is how the whole creation is. If all the objects were just randomly moving in this universe, and there would be what? Collision all the time. It would be a totally chaotic universe.
Yeah.
Okay? While things are changing at every second, still there is what? An appearance of stability.
Order. There is a method.
Yeah. And while the whole galaxies are moving, there is what? A seeming, there is a seeming stability. We don't all feel. Imagine if we thought that we are all moving in the space for like very high speed.
Oh, Mars is going to hit us at any point.
Yeah.
Jupiter will go to Venus.
Collisions,
Yeah.
exactly.
What
And
stops
so
that?
while everything is moving, the distance between one object and the
Yes.
other remains constant. And each object serves a given function, no matter how far that, how far is sun from the earth. Very far, but it performs so many different functions. So that means that what binds the whole universe together are what we call different laws. So that means if you want to understand what is the cause of the universe, don't look for some entity somewhere else. Because as long as you think it is an entity somewhere else outside earth and you give it a place called heaven, then you will have all kinds of logical problems. Because you impute to that entity all knowledge and all power. That means that the entity has all power to change everything. And still I'm suffering and I'm praying to that entity and he's letting me suffer. So what kind of an entity is that?
This is very one thing. You think we all have, we are that awareness.
Yes.
Each one.
Yes.
So it would only apply to human beings. It
No.
won't apply to planets and inanimate objects. And they won't have awareness.
They have awareness. Okay, now that's a very good question. I will. The next verse will talk about it. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. We will see.
Yeah. So my thing would be then what would be governing that?
Well, okay. So now the first verse is talking about Ishvara as not, please don't give a location, please don't give a form to this Ishvara. Ishvara has to be understood as manifesting as all the different laws. So in fact, the laws of gravity are what? They are not dumb. They are what? It is a manifestation of that all intelligence which has the power to hold what? The earth through laws of gravity. So the law of gravity, don't we think that law of gravity is a dumb thing. It's a mechanical thing. What Vedanta is saying, it's not a mechanical thing. It is a manifestation of what? That all knowledge and all power. Which is making that law in a way that what? An object which fell will fall at a certain speed million years ago and even now. And knowing these laws of gravity, you can do so much. So scientists use the laws of gravity to accomplish so many things. Okay? So that means this is where a very basic difference is. The laws, according to us, are a manifestation of the cause of the universe. They are not mechanical. Okay? So that means there is an intelligence which makes that law what it is, so that there is certain order in the way the universe is organized. Okay? Then, when it comes to what we call the physical law is manifestation of Ishvara, the biological laws are again, they are not just the anatomical laws, they are not just, it's not that some cells come together and mechanically create the body. The biological laws again are manifestation of what? This all knowledge and all power which makes the physical body what it is. Yeah? And it connects it to different forces upon which it has to depend. Because you create a human body, but in order to sustain that human body, what do you need? You need food, you need everything. So who's setting it all up? That's why we say it's not mechanical laws. Every law is a manifestation of the cause of the universe. that means that that cause of the universe is what? All knowledge and all power. With reference to my body, what? I see it as biological laws. With reference to the organization of the universe, I call it as what? Physical laws. With reference to how my brain works, I call it what? Neurosciences. So this is what, all these neurosciences is not just, the neurons are not just coming and ticking like that. It is, this is all part of a design of that all knowledge and all power. Okay. So this is how you view them. Within that is also what? Psychological order. The kind of events that you go through in life, they affect what? Your psychology. So this is why you go and see a psychologist. They know exactly, you think that you have a very unique problem and they have seen hundreds of people. Similar cause and effect relationship. So they know immediately this kind of a attitude or this kind of an outlook comes from what kind of a background. Okay. So this is what we call about the laws. So that means we think that they are all independent laws. Are they just independent, unconnected laws? They are not all independent, unconnected. What is the connecting entity? This is what we say Ishvara. Because each law has a given function, it has its given place, and that law works in conjunction with other laws to make it into what? A very organized universe. So the biological don't work independently of physical laws. The anatomical laws don't work independently of what? Other biological laws. So that means everything is connected. And your psychology does not work independently of your physical body. Everything is connected. So that connecting link is what we call Ishvara. And all the laws are manifestation of that Ishvara. So that means within those laws, there are some critical laws. Everybody knows about psychology, everybody knows about physical, everybody knows about what? Biology, epistemology, everybody botany, they all know about these laws. Then there are some other laws that are directly relevant to my life. And what are those laws? Yeah? Karma, the cause and effect, the actions and results. Okay? So that means when we are talking about karma, please see, we are not talking about destiny. Destiny means that there is somehow somebody has decided my destiny. Destiny based on what? If you ask one more question, why do I have the destiny that I have? Why? Based on what? Somebody sitting out there and deciding my destiny randomly? No. So this is where we say that there is a cause and effect relationship. Okay? So these laws, we see these, and every law, like a biological law or physical law, what is the time frame within which that law works? Can you say, yeah, can you say it started 100 years ago or 1000 years ago? Along with creation comes those laws. So how far this cause and effect relationship with reference to my life, can I say that if they work only for this 80 years or 100 years that I am there? No. No law operates like that. Every law has a time frame which is what? Along with the creation. Infinite. Okay. So that means law of karma is also manifestation of Ishvara.
Just as also evolved.
Yeah, they evolved.
We were also in an evolution.
Absolutely.
So the process of going from a chimpanzee to us.
Yeah.
The laws also.
Yes, because the laws are cause and effect. So they constantly, so that means what you are saying is absolutely right. What Radhika is saying is something very important. Because if you, let's say, I mean this is hypothetical, you tell Ishvara what is going to be the state of the world 10 years from now. He said, no, I don't know, because it depends upon
What evolves now.
how each one will act, and then what will it do?
What will manifest?
What will manifest.
But the speed is not predetermined.
Sorry?
Yes.
So that
notion that
means
we have that is predetermined, it's not.
it's not predetermined. So
What
that
he told
means
me
In a
is now.
sense, you create your own reality.
you don't totally create, I mean yes, in some ways, but one has to be very, very careful. When I say I create my own reality, it doesn't mean that I sit and decide which is the cause which is going to lead to which effect. There is a law which is doing it. So that means you are subject to law, you work within the laws.
And the law has no time frame. There
The
is
law
no
has no
of
time.
when it's working to when it's coming. But it is all a work in progress.
Exactly.
It's completely what is
It's
happening
a-
now might determine what happens to me 10 years. It might determine what happens to me 200 years.
Absolutely.
That's what I understand.
Yes, and that is correct. Right? Every cause that you have created, which is an action, you don't know
You don't know when it's going to
where
go.
it is going to go. Okay? Like at the time of the industrial age, some industrialists made some decisions, and the effect of that you are seeing now in terms of global warming.
Yeah.
They had no idea, they didn't even know the word global warming. And who's carried forward those results? Have you carried forward? No. The laws of cause and effect are carried forward. Series, which is not only what giving you the result, but also what connecting all. There is something called individual karma. There is another thing called what? Collective karma. So that means right now we all have unique life, but we also, living in Bombay, we experience traffic, the same. But within that experience of traffic, which is the same, it still varies depending upon, how you commute, whether you have air conditioned car or not, or you're using public transport. So there are variations and commonality. Variations and commonality. So each one gets exactly what is due according to the laws of cause and effect. But the laws of cause and effect, once you understand them, what do? You realign your life in a way that what? You use this knowledge of cause and effect to what? Benefit yourself. That karma as the other part, which is what? Dharma. And I make choices. What my choices should be guided by. There is another law, which is what we call law of dharma. Law of dharma means what? That every human being knows intuitively what is right and what is not so right. So that means if you somehow justify and go against dharma, then what? There is no way you can escape. You can escape prison, you can escape, the national legal system, you can escape. But you cannot escape what? The laws of dharma and karma. Because why? Whereas if it is some guy sitting there, then that guy can overlook. But if it is very fabric, the law of gravity is at one location, where is it? It's everywhere. Law of dharma and law of karma is also everywhere. Law of physics, where are they? Are they at one given place? They are everywhere. So that means Ishvara as the laws is where? Everywhere. They manifest and they govern every form through its laws.
So who does one pray to?
This Ishvara is in fact much more than that. Yeah, right? So that's what I'm saying. You think that the laws that I just said, your laws are dumb. What we say is laws are not dumb. It's not, you're not praying to the laws of gravity. Who are you praying to? That all intelligence, okay, which is manifesting. One of the manifestation is law of gravity. right? So you're not praying to the law of thermodynamics. You're praying to that all intelligence which makes that law what it is, which enables what the whole universe to function in a certain way. So that means every law is a manifestation of Ishvara. So wherever there is a law, there is intelligent being, that all knowledge and all power, which is the cause of the universe. So who you are praying to is that intelligence, which makes every law what it is. And that's one, all knowledge and all power. Different aspects of that all knowledge and all power, in the way it organizes the universe. Right? So this is, in fact, now you may think that Ishvara is like a thread, but all the different laws which organize all the different forms, then are forms different from Ishvara. If Ishvara were only the laws, then what will happen? The forms?
Limited.
Yeah?
Where are the forms?
Exactly. Exactly. If Ishvara was only the laws, then where do the forms come from? Which it puts together. So that's where the next verse it says that I'm not only the laws, I'm also the forms.
Every form. Animate,
Every form.
Yeah.
Animate and inanimate. This is exactly what
You want.
your question was. Right? So we will see.
Are you okay? I have a good pain, so I'm just sitting.
What happened to you? You still?
I got to physiotherapy today.
So the next verse, so that you don't think that it's only the laws, it is also the forms. So therefore, the next verse is saying, Raso hamapsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoho pranava sarva vedeshu shabdake paurusham drushu. You will chant after me. Raso hamapsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoho pranava sarva vedeshu shabdake paurusham drushu. Okay. So now he's saying, not only I am the laws, but I am also the forms. Raso ham apsu kaunteya. So you think that water is a form and what is governed by the laws. Now he says, even the water I am. That means every form I am. How will you now understand Ishvara to be also the forms and not just the laws? This is where this whole teaching of what? Satyam and Mithya runs about. Okay? So that means that this form that I think is a table is what? Nothing but forms within forms within forms. Ultimately, where do I come to? Particles. Okay? Now, the next question is that these particles, who organizes those particles in a way that with this given permutation and combination it will become a table. With another permutation and combination it will become what? Water. With another permutation and combination it will become what? Mountain. Another permutation and combination it will become human body. Another permutation and combination it will become bird's body.
Otherwise, the misconception is that I have created this table.
Exactly.
But you don't. When you
You
go to the Mithya thing, then you begin to realize and get down.
Okay, so you as an individual, you have not created that. There is this what we call all knowledge and all power. So that means the all knowledge and all power is organizing what? all the different forms through different laws, but also what? Making each form what it is.
It's like a big playpen for him.
Yeah.
Just put all the toys inside, and
Yeah.
we are mixing and taking and thinking we are making it.
Exactly.
But yeah, actually he's thrown it in and saying, okay.
Yeah,
I
and then
don't
these
know,
are the
you
laws.
do what-
This
these
is
are
the
the
game, and
laws.
now you do.
You do what you do.
Yeah, or you can
This
know
ball
the
will bounce only
reality.
so much, that one will bounce higher, but nothing will come out of this playpen.
Absolutely. So that means out is what
Yeah.
that framework
Yeah.
within which the whole game takes place is what we
place.
call time and space.
Kind of. Exactly.
Right? So that means every object is manifestation of Ishvara. You can't, if you understand Vedanta, you cannot ask this question, why me? You cannot ask Ishvara, you cannot be angry with Ishvara and say, why did you do this to me? Because in that question, what is your implicit understanding? That I am separate and Ishvara is an entity which is separate from me. All that is here is Ishvara. Every form is pervaded by Ishvara. How do you understand that every form is right now, billions of cells in your body are coordinating in a way that you can hear, I can speak, I can hear, my digestive system is running, my respiratory system is doing its job, my circulatory system is doing its job. Who? Am I asking, okay now, hey the cell, you move from here to here, am I doing that job? My neurons are ticking, am I telling them, you go from here to here? It's already being done with a precision which is incredible. That is what we mean by all knowledge and all power. It pervades every form. Why my cells, okay, combine together, they're just atoms, combine together and make a form of my body which is different from your body. And then what? The animal's body is same. It's all atoms and particles, but this completely different shape and a different program. The eyes are differently programmed, the ears are differently programmed,
Mind
the
is
nose. Now,
Intelligent mind is
mind is differently programmed, absolutely. The range of the mind is totally differently programmed. So this is where we say Ishvara is also inland in those forms, making every form what it is. So that all knowledge and all power is something which is not only the laws but also the forms that are governed by the laws. Okay. If that is your understanding of Ishvara, try to be away from Ishvara. When will you go in this universe where there is no Ishvara? Show me. Huh? No. Right? What about time and space itself? The time and space itself is manifestation of Ishvara. Again, time and space is not done. We think about the whole world as some mechanical thing. What we are saying is, behind those forms there is this intelligence, making those forms what they are. And the laws are also manifestation of the same cause, which are what? Making sure that the forms operate within certain order, certain laws. That is also Ishvara. So that means the whole truth of the universe is not some mechanical thing, it is what? Ishvara. That intelligence which is manifesting as everything. The forms and the laws. And constantly what? The interactions are taking place and the universe is constantly what? Being reshuffled and readjusted. Evolving.
So even Ishvara doesn't know how it will evolve.
That means it evolves within, it is all knowledge and all power.
Yeah.
So but the options are given, the way those options are collapsed.
So it's not predetermined.
It's
So
not
where is
predetermined.
that
So even
Ishvara
not
thinking? So where is
Yeah.
that Ishvara sitting and thinking? Even where is that Ishvara sitting when he also doesn't know?
No, because
Because it's not an entity sitting anywhere.
no. So
It is all here and now, right? It is all here and now. Everything at every second is interacting.
Yeah.
At every microsecond, a cause
Yeah.
is produced,
Producing.
which will, according to those laws, have the effect, which we don't even know at that micro levels, the cause and effect, cause and
Yeah.
effect. Therefore, it is constantly in dynamic state
Yeah.
and evolving, manifesting, unmanifested. Because even Ishvara will not know means
So
whatever is sitting there not
No,
knowing.
what I'm saying is even, like she said, it's not predetermined because there are range of choices you have. So what choices you make will determine what form the universe will come to next.
Yeah,
But then it's not only your choice.
It's a collective choice.
It will connect.
It's a collective choice.
there is the law of karma which is for individual
And the collective
collective.
karma.
See now,
So
and
like
when you
you
say
say
that
all-
the collective karma is manifesting differently to South Bombay and manifesting differently in some Maharashtrian rural village and manifesting differently in New York according to the collective karma of each area, those people all over. Think of the boundaries, the army people, the navy people, their cause and effect is totally different.
My understanding would be yes, but that would again be narrowing it down to me. If you look at the whole way in which it entire thing, being centuries forward, will be everybody collectively moving. If you are,
Again, within that there are little
Of course.
pockets.
Yeah.
So
You have
just
to
like
evolve,
the particle goes and makes this form,
But you will not have one pocket evolving faster than another pocket. I don't know. I don't think so. Would that? I don't think that is.
that would, I think you have to then say what does evolving mean?
Yes. What is evolution? What does it mean?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah.
And in which terms are you looking
Yeah.
at evolving?
Evolving. Yeah.
What? Nandita, I wanted to say something.
So I'm just really confused about this whole collective karma in relation to the individual karma. Because today the collective karma can be the collective karma of a family, it can be of a city, it can be of a nation.
That's exactly what
So, you as an individual, I'm not only affected by my karma, but I'm affected by the karmas of millions of other subsets or the millions of other groups, by the collective karma of my family, the collective karma of the city, my locality, my friends. So how do I know that what a cause produces what effect? I mean, it's difficult for me that even if I may act righteously or I follow my karma, but the things around me may not be like that. So in that situation, how does one know? I mean, yes, you will always have that one right. There will always be the universal rights and wrongs, but still it's a little complicated, I feel.
I think one is your individual, like she's saying. One maybe would be the family and the locality. Correct me if I'm wrong. And one again would be country. Will you go to war with China or not? It's again a collective decision of what the country is doing, the government is doing. Government will be what you have elected. So it all comes down to, that rippling effect as to what you put in place. Those things will start evolving and taking foreign policy decisions which will then come into effect with that. And then maybe the whole world will become like the chimpanzees evolving goes into hundreds of years, centuries. So if we have to evolve into like the alien robots with a higher intelligence might be 2,000 years from now. But or if we do it faster and we are good, better, dynamic, we do it 1,000 years. I'm just saying. That is what I can understand is, what you're so. But when also, that's what I meant, even Ishvara doesn't know means he's not predetermined when anything will happen.
Absolutely. Because we are constantly acting and based on the choices that
You
we
make
make,
now,
the universe
Will,
reorganizes itself. Right?
But there are so many contradictory choices and there are so many conflicting causes. So which produce very conflicting effects.
And this is
And
what you see,
interdependent,
this is
like
how
you
the
say,
universe
that's what's
is,
happening,
right?
Yeah.
That's what is happening.
That's what's happening.
And interdependent, like she says, that I might not want it, but outside if somebody acts like this, it's going to be a bad thing.
See, I mean, what you're saying is absolutely
Yeah.
right, that you want to live in a clean air, but you don't choose, right? I mean, so many people who have acted earlier, they affect, their
Yeah.
decisions affect the kind of air quality that you have to
Yeah.
live in, right? So this is a fact. It's not something that, this is how things are. The world is interconnected. But within that interconnection, we also all have our own individual.
That's what I was saying.
And that's
to
why.
answer. So you are in that unique situation because of your own karma.
Yeah.
Now you could have been an American in a different situation.
With the
But you
cleaner
are
air.
here
With
with
cleaner
this.
air.
Yeah.
But
No,
maybe
yeah.
affliction, suffering from some affliction in some other way.
Or even contradiction
Yeah.
with
You know.
your family member and their karma affecting you is also you are there because of your karma.
So that's why we say that all knowledge and all power is like, the number of variables it has to take into consideration, and what give the result to that entity in connection with everything else. I mean, can you imagine the amount of intelligence that is required? This is what we say, all knowledge and all capacity. This is what we call Ishvara. It is unfathomable by human mind. Okay? Even with 100 variables, we can't
Because we are only thinking in context to one individual, me. Right?
Yeah.
Now,
Even if you take Earth, the variables become totally unfathomable.
Yeah,
Now you
the
take the
galaxy.
whole galaxy and you take the
Many
entire...
galaxies.
Yeah, many galaxies. How many variables? This is what we say. The whole thing is this. This is what the magnitude of Ishvara you have to understand.
You can't understand. It's actually
I mean, you
not
can understand by saying known to be and unknown to be.
Yeah.
That all knowledge and all power which brings into manifestation different forms and all the laws that govern those forms. The whole thing is manifestation of that all knowledge and all power. Because right now, that form, on one hand it is there, but when I inquire into the reality, it's not even there. It's just forms within forms within forms, and ultimately it is just that all knowledge. Really, this is how things are. So this is what he says, I am also the forms and the intelligence. Now, is that all Ishvara is? Up to now let's look at time and space. What is time and space?
It's man-made.
It's time and space.
Time is
really
yeah.
man-made.
No,
But you're right.
the
The unit
concept
of
of-
time.
unit of
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. Unit of time
Unit
is
of
time. True. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what is actually there is only what? The concept of time.
Concept.
Because the units are what? Again, just like this form, what? Hour, minutes, seconds,
Yeah.
microsecond, nanosecond, it just keeps on what? Forms within forms, right? Ultimately, it's only the concept.
Concept.
Okay. Now, what is bringing about the concept in a way that what? After a point, what? Time operates in a highly predictable manner. So that means there is again what? That all knowledge and all intelligence which is making that concept work in a way that we all can go by the time. Okay? We have what? On earth, we have time, but even then it varies from one country to the other. But it follows a certain logic. What is the logic? Huh?
Zones.
Yeah, the time zones we create based on what?
Related to the movement of the
Yeah,
the
exactly.
of Earth.
Right?
So it's
And then-
again connected.
Yeah, and when you go outside the atmosphere of Earth, the time behaves very differently.
Slows down.
It slows down. And this is why you have this, this very famous thing, example which shows relativity of time, which is one twin remains on Earth and the other twin goes outer space, and that twin ages differently from the twin which is on Earth. Physically different.
That is fine.
Yeah.
In the
Because
same time span.
in the same time
Same-
span.
oh, yeah.
So that means here the person will be 100 years old, and that person who comes back after space travel will be 50 years old. Because the time is different when you go outside atmosphere
That's
of
what they
Earth.
say, how many years it takes for light to
Yeah.
So what we are seeing is that
Physically also will age.
Physically, yeah,
physically
physically
will
also.
exist as the stars may have died by.
Also in the mind, time.
Yeah.
When people, for example, are about to die, they see time in a completely different way, right? Like the time from when they were born to when they're dying gets completely compressed into that moment. So somehow it's all, it stayed over there. It's not followed that arrow of time.
Or even in your dream, right? In your dream, what you think about as 1 year is actually how many seconds? It's only seconds in terms of the waking time. So this is that's where what we say there is it. Even though it is varying what? Not randomly. This is what we say by all knowledge and all power. It's very precise. This is why the scientists can tell you how depending upon the speed at which you are traveling, how that relativity of time, how it will function, they can tell you. Why? Because there is a order. Yeah. So this is what we say is manifestation of Ishvara. It is all just not mechanical. It is intelligence. So this is what Ishvara is, the truth of time and truth of space. Now, what does it mean? Ishvara is time, Ishvara is space, Ishvara is all the different objects. Now here, let's come back to Radhika's question. Now, if Ishvara, all knowledge and all power, is manifesting all forms, why some forms seem sentient and other forms seem insentient? Right? So for example, water does not get up from here and say, now I'm bored sitting here, I'm going to go for a walk. But you can. Okay? So what makes even something, this is what we call inert and this is what we call sentient. And it seems to us that the intelligence is only where? In the sentient and not in the insentient. Okay? But is it true?
But to explain Vidya,
Right.
So
So that
coming
means,
down to the level of particles.
yes.
yeah, and who is organizing those particles in a way that this becomes what? A mountain. That means that there is no such thing. Even then, what is it? That means all knowledge and all power is pervading everything.
In another way, we can say, if this is not Ishvara, who created this? Okay, I say I created it. From what? Clay. Where did the clay come from? You go down and you're down to again Ishvara. Right?
So you come back to Ishvara. You can't, you
Come
go
back to
anywhere,
Ishvara.
absolutely. You start anything. You
Can't
start with
move.
anything. If you go all the way, you come back to Ishvara. You can't. Initially, what they say
Okay, the
is,
galaxy we didn't, galaxy here,
yeah,
the Mars and this,
Yeah.
we spoke about.
all
They
knowledge
just
and all power.
manifested into that. All
Exactly. And the distance and how it is going to move and the whole thing is just this all knowledge and all power.
How far the sun is from you. So
Yeah,
that it
that's
just
the laws he's put in.
Yeah.
Even when you think, I don't know, I'm going off a bit off track, but when you think about these things, how beautifully nature is organized
Yeah.
in every way. I mean, I always think it this all knowledge, all powerful, there has to be something, I don't know, there has to be, what we conventionally term as God or
Yeah, but it is. This is what it is saying.
What is?
But it's not
It's
a
a
verse.
force. It's a force.
It is all knowledge. Sarvajnaha Sarvashaktiman Ishvara. Sarvajnaha means all knowledge and all power.
Yeah, but it's
It
not
is manifesting.
manifesting. What is it?
I mean, that is what it's
Yeah.
really, what is it? I mean, you're saying all that is here, all that is here.
All that is. This is why it is not one given thing. Please understand. You want to
So
understand
we
it as
understood that.
one
We
given
want to
thing.
know what that particle, make the particle, what is that thing made of? That's what we all trying to find some tangible thing to eye tag.
Yeah, we want to find something
tangible to put a label
That
on.
intelligence is right now. You don't
Yeah.
just because it's. If you want to objectify it, what will you do it? You make it into one of the objects of the universe. When you say you want to tangibly see it, what
Which
do you
is why you manifest it to Lord Krishna and pray to that. Because there is no other way to pray to it. Which is where then you manifest that
You
force
make it
in
image
that.
and you do it.
Because
Yeah.
you invoke that understanding of all
Yeah.
knowledge and all power
Yeah.
in one form. So
Yeah.
that means you can relate.
Relate to it. Because you can't identify. It's very
Because
difficult to
otherwise-
identify.
Otherwise, it's very abstract.
But it's not abstract because it's all that is here
Yeah.
is Ishvara.
No, what she means is it's not something
Yeah,
you can.
because it is not. Because the minute you are trying to give it a form, what
Yes.
are you doing? You are making it
Limiting.
into one of the many forms
Becomes
in the
real.
universe.
Becomes
Absolutely.
real.
Absolutely.
And then who's doing it?
Absolutely. So you see, you ask yourself this question that I'm expecting it to be in a given way. Is it reasonable? Does it logically hold that Ishvara is like that? The minute you give it a form, it becomes one of the entities of the universe.
But okay, the Ishvara formed the universe. Where does Ishvara come from? Where does that all knowledge come from?
Okay, that
That's
is that
where-
Tat Tvam Asi. That is the last part of the
Oh,
equation.
we will.
We are right now.
Okay, so
with
the answer that
Ishvara.
also.
It is answering that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a conundrum, if you only one lotus petal in something, no idea.
Like you keep peeling
Yeah.
layers and layers and layers.
Layers and layers
Because
and
that is the question. Fine, everything is a particle, all knowledge is created up. Where is all knowledge arrived from?
Or that also there is an answer.
That would be interesting. That I can't even figure out an answer. Neema knows.
I know and I forget. So every time I listen to her, I say, wow, again. I know and I forget.
Okay, but that will come. So we still have a long way to go.
Might
So
also
that-
the answer. No, we're not ready for that knowledge. You're growing up for that. I'm not ready to receive it yet. I'm still boiling over here.
Okay, now we still haven't totally, now we think that okay, now Ishvara is time, Ishvara is space. In fact, Ishvara is not only time and space, it is all knowledge and all power, and one of the manifestation of Ishvara is time. One of the manifestation of Ishvara is space. One of the manifestation of Ishvara is what? All the different laws. One of the different manifestation of Ishvara is all the different forms. Right? Itself is all knowledge. Because if it was form, then what will happen when the form goes, Ishvara goes?
No, I'm saying no.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go. So Ishvara is something which is constantly reorganizing forms. Itself is always there. Okay? So this is where now we think that we have understood everything about Ishvara. Time, space, objects, and what?
Laws.
The laws.
Now it's left.
Now what's left? Still there is something left. So as we said, layers within layers within layers. Okay? So this is where this whole, now it is not yet the complete knowledge of what Ishvara is. So the next verse is talking about what else Ishvara is. What does it include? What do you think it can include? Anything else is left? What would be left
Yeah.
is explained in the next verse. So Do you have time? It's almost, yeah, it is 6:45.
I'm okay.
I'm okay till 7.
You are okay till 7?
7:30.
Okay. So let's see now the next verse. The next verse is interesting verse. It says, Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yatyatayo Vitaragaha Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshe. I will chant the next verse because actually it is the next verse which is explaining what it is. Om Nityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Mamanusmaram Yaprayati Tyajan Deham Sayati Paramam Gatim. You chant after me. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti
Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti
Vishanti Yatyatayo Vitaragaha
Vishanti Yatyatayo Vitaragaha
Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti
Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti
Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshe
Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshe
Om Nityekaksharam Brahma
Om Nityekaksharam Brahma
Vyaharan Mamanusmaran
Vyaharan Mamanusmaran
Yaprayati Tyajan Deham
Yaprayati Tyajan
Deham Sagratif Paramam Gatim.
Sayati Paramam Gatim.
Okay. So here you think that the description of Ishvara is complete, and here he says that it is not. Okay. What is, he says, Yat Aksharam Veda Vido. If you want to know in totality what is Ishvara, then what? All knowledge, all power, which is all forms, all laws, time, space, how will you describe this Ishvara? There is you need only one word to describe that Ishvara. And that is Om. He says Om is Yat Akshara. Here it refers to Om. Veda Vido Vadanti. The people who know the Vedas, they talk about Vishanti Yatyatayo Vitaragaha. They understand the nature of Ishvara, provided, which is Om, provided they are Vita Raga, provided what? They have certain maturity. Okay? Yadichanto Brahmacharya Charanti. Wanting to know Om, they live a life of discipline. Okay? That is the Padam, which is Om. The meaning of it I am going to explain to you now. Okay? So this is what he says. So here he says, Omityekaksharam Brahma. Om is one word which describes me entirely. How? Whole Mandukya Upanishad was using Om to describe the nature of Ishvara. Rishikesh, recently. Krishna. So, Om, how such a huge reality you can capture with one name, which is what? Just Om. So there is a methodology which is used in Mandukya Upanishad, which uses the word Om. It has what? 3 letters. A, U and Ma. Okay. Sandhi rules make it into O. The A of Om stands for what? The entire, when you say all that is here is Ishvara, what do you mean by all? Okay. So it says, what do you mean by all is, one is the physical universe. What is the physical universe? Everything which is what? All the planets, the stars, physical bodies of every creatures. This is what we call sun, moon. This is what we call physical universe. Okay. Now, physical universe is organized in a way that to you, this body is what me. Even though this body constitutes of the physical universe, you think it is me, and then the rest of the physical universe is what? Not me.
Yeah.
Right? So what Ishvara is what? This me, the physical body, which is given the name Vishwa, okay, and the entire physical universe, which is what we call Vedanta. So Ishvara includes what? My physical body and the entire physical universe. That is representing the word, the letter of. Okay? So Ishvara is what? My physical body and what? Entire physical universe. That's what makes it tangible. What is Ishvara? Is that all that is in the universe? Physical bodies and physical objects? No. There is something which is subtle. So Ishvara is what? My subtle function, which is what we call Sukshma Sharira. And what? The entire subtle universe. Okay? My Sukshma Sharira, what does it include? My mind, which is subtle. Right? Why do I call it subtle? Because what you are thinking I don't see. Just I can see a physical body, but I don't see. Right? I can see a physical eye, but I have no idea how much your eyes can see. That's why we call it subtle. Okay? So that means the world includes not only physical forms, they include what? The subtle capacities. So Ishvara includes what? My subtle functions and the subtle functions of what? The eyes of the fish, how much they can see. The eyes of the bird, how much they can see. Okay. It includes the entire subtle universe, known to me and unknown to me. That is represented by who?
Is this the energetic universe?
Yeah, what we don't only talk about energy, what we talk about is the subtle functions, which include your mind, it includes your senses, it includes your pancha prana, the digestive system, the respiratory system, the evacuation, circulation. It is all subtle. It's all part of subtle universe. Right? And also the capacity of your karmendriya, because you can see your physical hand, but the capacity of hand to move is something which is subtle. Just by looking at the physical hand, you don't know whether you are actually able to move it or not. So that's why it's subtle. So the subtle body constitutes of some 17 functions. Pancha prana, this prana includes inhalation and exhalation, respiratory function, which is digestion, circulation and evacuation. It includes the 5 sense organs, which is what? Your eyes, your hearing, your nose, your touch and your taste. Which is 5. Then 5 organs of action. 5 organs of actions are what? Hands, legs, then procreation, evacuation and speech. And then 2, actually you can say 4 functions of mind. Buddhi, which is what? Your intellect. Manas, which is your emoting mind. Then Chittam, which is your memory. And Ahankara, which is your sense of mind. So the entire thing is what we call subtle. And that means Ishvara is not only your subtle body, but what? The subtle of everything. From the tiniest bacteria to the largest dinosaur or whatever. The forms which were there earlier and they are extinct now, and then the present species may become extinct, but that the entire order which rearranges everything and makes everybody subtle what it is. This is Ishvara. Now that means
What is that called?
and
Sukshma.
So the individual physical body is called Vishwa, and the entire physical world is what we call Virat. Okay? The individual subtle body is called Taijasa, right? And the entire subtle world is what we call Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha. Then what else is remaining? A, U and Ma. What is Ma? Ma is, besides physical and subtle, what is there? The causal. The causal. That means what connects, right? Because right now, if Ishvara was only the physical and subtle, all the things that are now, all the things that existed in the past, they are not there now. So who accounted for those? All the things which are yet to come. If Ishvara is only what is physical and subtle, then that would not be included in Ishvara. So the causal includes everything that is yet to come. Everything in the
That is
past.
gone also, and what is yet to come.
Exactly. What is gone, which was governed by the cause and effect relationship, which was manifest, but it is not manifest now, and what is yet to manifest.
And the present also.
Even in the present, right now, one cell could be gone and the next cell is yet to come. Even that, who connects that what is going to go and what is going to come? And within that so-called coming and going, there is an apparent stability. That is also Ishvara. Okay. So this is what the causal also. Please don't think it's only physical and subtle. This is why nothing is outside Ishvara. You can have different forms emerging. It is all within Ishvara, all within that intelligence. Your causal, which is what did we see? That how come my bodies are, I come up with different bodies with different minds, what my own karma, and then what? The karma of everyone. This is what we call, it is represented by Ma. Which is, no, Vyashti, the individual, my causes are called Prajna, me, the individual, and the entire thing is what we call. Now it includes the entire Ishvara entity, because now it is complete. The physical, subtle and causal. Prajna, yeah, Prajna, and then what we call Ishvara. So Ishvara includes everything. What you think is what? The dead universe is all manifestation of that all knowledge and all power. Whether it is a physical form, which is either your body or any other body, or planets, or things which are insentient. It is all manifestation of that Ishvara. Your subtle mind and all the different subtle functions, or the subtle function of a snake, it's all Ishvara. Okay? And anything which is yet to come and which has passed, it is all included in Ishvara. So Om, by saying the word Om, you include everything. Now, think about, in the manifest world, you have all three. Subtle, physical and causal. Now, think before so-called Big Bang. What was there? Big Bang brings about what?
This
The physical and subtle universe, because the forms come into being.
Before.
What was there before?
Potential.
Potential. The cause was already there. So Ishvara is already there,
Yeah, he's already there.
right?
Yeah.
And it is containing all the causes
Yeah.
from which the manifest universe comes.
Yeah.
And that's what actually solves this whole big question of science. Before Big Bang, what was there? Can you postulate that there was nothing before the Big Bang? You can't. Why? Because logically, you cannot say everything came from nothing. Okay? So the only possibility is that that Ishvara was there as what? Unmanifest.
Yeah.
And then it became manifest. So what we talk about as creation, in fact, according to Vedanta, is just a manifestation. Manifestation of what? Physical and subtle, which was there as a potential, as a cause. And this is why we understand Ishvara as Anadi, cyclical nature of creation. Before that causal, before it was manifest, it was unmanifest. Before that, it was manifest. So that means this is what we talk about as cyclical nature of creation. Limitless. And only that logically reconciles everything. Because if you postulate a linear beginning of the universe, nothing fits in. First, you can't answer this question. Before this linear beginning, what was there? That is the first problem. Second is, in the linear beginning, if the creation had linear beginning, you should be able to find the first thing, and you never find it. Who's the first father? What comes first? Chicken or egg? Seed or tree? Father or son? You can't find a linear beginning to anything, because the nature of the universe is such that it is not linear, it is cyclical in nature. And then it is manifestation and unmanifestation. Manifestation and unmanifestation. How do you know that this is something which is possible? Right now, in the manifest universe, as Neeru is saying, constantly things are what? Manifest and unmanifest. Either at a bigger level, when forms come into manifestation and then they disappear, or while the form is manifest, so many things are happening at a quantum level or a minute level, that all the time there are changes that are taking place. The cells that were manifest when you were born, none of those cells are manifest now, while you are still manifest. Every 12 years, none of the cells that existed in your body are there. Every 12 years is a complete regeneration, complete rejuvenation. So that means the whole universe, even now, when I examine, it is what? Manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. And what is that link which decides right now this is going to come into manifestation and this is going to become unmanifest? That is what we call all knowledge and all power, Ishvara.
So even when it was a potentiality, it was Ishvara?
Ishvara, exactly. And now also it is Ishvara. So this is what he says, this is Ishvara. If you want to understand, because you can't understand it as one entity, but you can understand it as what? My physical body and all physical body. My subtle functions and all other subtle functions. My causes and all the causes. If you understand that, within that there is manifestation and unmanifestation. The knowledge which governs the entire thing. This is what we call Ishvara. This is the only way to understand Ishvara. Otherwise, you are just making it one entity in the whole universe. Okay. Now, more about now. This is all knowledge and all power, which is everything. Now, Radhika's question, where did this all knowledge and all power come from? That is the final thing that you need to understand about Ishvara in the next class.
There's too much to take in this class. It's too much. It's too popular.
Right? So that means still the knowledge of Ishvara is not totally complete.
The immensity of the whole
The
thing.
immensity of the whole
I
thing.
told you, like the beginning, I felt I was on acid when you walk around. Really taking LSD and walking around. Like an hallucinogenic.
In fact, it is really how things are.
Yeah, it's very difficult to grasp it. Very difficult.
But
You know, my biggest revelation in Rishikesh on the Mandukya after we were doing it is that Ishvara is what Neema has explained, and it's all there, all knowledge, all intelligence, and it's here and now and everything. And all we do in our lives, or lifetimes of millions of years, each individual, we are only unraveling what has already been created. Can you tell me of any other occupation? Or we are copying. In the art forms, we are only copying. Trees and rivers and mountains and the sunset and all that. And in science, we are only unraveling. In botany and geography and the soils and the mountains, we are only kind of, like little those birds or kidas that go on and on. Iske piche kya, iske piche kya, iske piche kya, iske
So
piche
there's
kya.
nothing new that we are doing.
We are not doing, we are only discovering and unraveling.
Yeah.
Each life is only
If you're lucky, you unravel a little more in each life.
yeah,
you're only unraveling what he has already created.
exactly, because with all
And
this
he's free of
research,
it.
yeah, you are trying to understand exact working of the eyes, which is already created and it's already working.
Medicine. What are you doing? You're only, and every time they find something new. Every time some new science, new technology, new thing about the eye, new thing about the liver. So that was my biggest revelation, that we as humans are doing nothing. The creation is there, it's been created, and then now we are just absorbed with unraveling
You
it.
know, the particles are there, you are making forms out of it. Like rockets to go to Mars and discover what it is. Other stuff to do things. That's what he's giving you. It's like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
And he says, do it. Now make the shapes you want and discover it. So the more you make shapes, the more you'll discover, and more advanced you'll get into the whole thing. That is
So even that is based on what? Here's a law of gravity, this is the mass, this is now to break that law of gravity to get into the next this thing. I need this.
I will just finish with the prayer.
Oh, sorry,
No problem. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.